Hey y'all, welcome back to my garden and to the back of the house. I'm so glad to be able to do this video and take you along with me. I have been gone for 4 days, and so I'm going to take you with me today as we go around all of the growing spaces and do a harvest to see what we have. Now, there were some things that were not looking so good before I left, so I'm curious to see how it looks now, to see if we're at the end of the road or we can press on a little bit longer. But thank you guys so much for joining me. If you are brand new here, my name is Barbara. I live in Tennessee in zone 7B, and we're in the back of my house, and this is where my garden started. So I have 5 raised beds back here, 4 that have things in them, but this is where I started 4 years ago with these. I started with actually 4 raised beds that my husband and my son built, and before that I had never put my hands in dirt. So I'm telling you, what you see today is a living testament that if you keep growing food, you will eventually get better and better and better, and sometimes you grow bigger and bigger and bigger, meaning you keep adding more spaces. That's been my story. It don't have to be yours, but it is my story. But I'm so glad that you're here. If you're new here, please say hello down in the comments below and let me know what state or country you're coming in from so that I can just say hello to you and welcome you. And if you've been here before, of course, I always enjoy your comments. Now, before we get started, let me tell you about this right here. Now, y'all already know, when you watch my channel, it's very hard not to be clicking on the stuff that I buy, because y'all know I'll only be bringing y'all good stuff. Now, this is an air conditioning. You can see it's almost like headphones, so to speak. So it can be disguised as that. But this is what it looks like. But y'all, this is a portable air conditioning. Not fan, air conditioning. And when I tell you it's the B-O-M-B, it is the bomb. I have it like on 2 right now. It can go all the way up to 4, but I turned it down just because I don't know if you can hear it on here, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to kind of edit out some of the noise. But y'all, it's hot out here today, but with this I'm gonna be able to do this video, and this is the only time that I have to do it. I was in an airport about a month or so ago, and this lady had one who was standing in front of me, and somehow me and whoever I was with was talking about fans. We had just came from this conference, and this lady at the conference had like this little portable fan, you know, that you sit on the desk or whatever. So we had both ordered one of those. We were talking about it, and the lady said, "Oh, have you tried the air conditioning?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Y'all, she had this right here, and she put it on my neck. We were in the airport, long line. It was hot. When I tell you, I was sold right there, and I was like, let me figure out a way that I can get this. Now, it is a game changer, but don't go running by it unless you gonna use it, because it ain't $15, okay? But when I tell you it is worth the money, it is worth the money. And it also has heat too. I didn't know that when I bought it. Y'all, this, like, I'm good. It is probably 90 degrees out here today. This is in the middle of the day. Y'all know I'm never out here in the middle of the day. I'm out here in the middle of the day because this is the only time that I have to do it. I just got back in town literally about an hour ago, and I got to leave in a couple hours to actually go pick up my son from the airport. So when we get back, it'll be dark. So this is the only time I can do it, and this is what's making it manageable. But if you know, but this is like perfect. Like if you spend hours in the garden like I do, and if you're only out there for like 10 or 15 minutes, then I'm not gonna say that you need it. But if you are out in the garden for a couple of hours and you live in a really hot place like I do in the South, and if, let's say, your kids are involved in sports and you're sitting out in the stadium at games and stuff like that, or if you're of a certain age and things be flashing, that's hot. If any of those things speak to you and you're like, I want some relief, this is a perfect, okay? Perfect. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, it's $100. So before I'm being open and transparent, because I'm gonna put it in my Amazon shop. It's gonna be in my Amazon shop, so you can go get it. Now the regular price is $180, and I had it in my cart for such a time as, okay, I can't get that right now. Let me finagle some things. Let me figure out what I want to do. Blah 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 blah. And then you know how Amazon tells you things in your cart have decreased. It decreased by $80. It was $100. I was like, I clicked so fast. So yes, but it's worth $100 because, and it's rechargeable. So you just charge it up. I haven't had to charge it yet. I've had it for a week or so. I haven't had to charge it yet. But yeah, it's perfect. It is absolutely perfect. But I didn't come on here to talk about my air conditioning, but I know some of y'all gonna ask. That's what this is. But let's go ahead and harvest and see what we have after not harvesting. I've been gone 4 days. I haven't harvested in 5. So let's see if we have any goodies that we can harvest. So we're going to start with our tomatoes. Okay, y'all. I got 2 of the white baskets that I had, and I just dumped them into this basket. So pretty good. These are all Roma tomatoes. And if you saw my video that I did probably a week and a half ago, we got this many. And since that video, I have gotten 2 more like these. So this is actually basket number 4 out of really just that one bed. That one bed, I've gotten 4 sizes of these Roma tomatoes. There's nothing that bad but Roma tomatoes. And I want to say we planted probably 8, no more than 10 in that bed. And we've got, and I think out of this batch, I probably threw away 4. So most of these are good. You can see they're a big, nice, healthy size, blushing, completely perfect. Nothing wrong with them at all. That's just dirt. Okay. So far so good. Let's see what else we can get. These are sriracha peppers. They are loaded. They've been loaded, but I've been waiting for them to turn red so that I can use them to make sriracha sauce. I see 1 that has turned red after all this time since I've been gone. 1. Oh, I'm tempted just to get the rest of them because they've been on here a long time and they're not turning. They're not turning at all. I don't know, y'all. What do you think? It's just those 2 plants that are sriracha plants, and I have 1 more in the tunnel. I have so far gathered probably a quart-sized bag of srirachas that I have in the freezer waiting to be turned into sriracha sauce. But if I could get all of those to turn red, that would be ideal. Last year, I only had enough to make, and I did jalapeno peppers. And basically, sriracha is a jalapeno pepper turned red. It's what they call a hybrid. But they need to be red in order to use them for sriracha sauce. So 1, let me ask you this. Have you guys ever used another pepper for sriracha sauce? Let me know that. And then 2, last year I made sriracha sauce and I only had enough for 1 bottle. I loved it so much, but it got gone so fast within 30 days. And so all year long, I've been wanting sriracha. I buy that stuff out of the store. It don't taste good. It does not taste good. So I want to make my own like I did the last time. I don't even remember what I did or if I kept the recipe, but whatever I made was good. And I'm going to try to duplicate that, but I really want these to turn red. Should I give them the red? They look so good green, but like this one, you can tell like it's starting to dry off and wither. Like it was completely green when I left. Now it's red. Not that you can't use it like this because all you're going to do is blend it up, so to speak, after you like cook it and boil it down. But they look good as green jalapenos. Let me take a look one more time. Let me just see if I see a hint of red. You can see it is loaded. I picked 1 more that's about to turn red, but all the rest of these, they don't even look like they're turning red. But look at this, y'all. I didn't even know this was back here and doing well. I got all these bell peppers right here that are doing good. I think this is supposed to turn orange. But I think I'm about to pick them now and just use them as is and chop them up as bell peppers. Although y'all know I don't like green bell peppers, I will use them. I didn't even know these were on here. Look at that. They look good too. Okay, so in this other bed, I have more tomatoes. These are aromas that I can pick. So we'll go ahead and get those. And then I got some orange bell peppers over there peeking through that I will get as well. So I'll go ahead and finish harvesting the rest of these tomatoes. I got some stuck back there too. So let's see how many more tomatoes we can get. Another whole big basket. I forgot that I had some of these in there. I don't remember the variety of this, but this was also an what do you call it, a determinate slicing tomato. Okay, that one's bad. But look at these all look Good. Yep, all look good. A whole nother basket. So let's add this to the basket that we already have. Y'all, look at this. Look at this. Unbelievable. I'm gonna go ahead and take this in the house. We'll come back and we'll get the peppers and see if we have any green beans. Okay, hubby's come out here, decided to help me. So what he's picking are these orange bell peppers that we kind of have out here. This is probably, I've picked like 1 or 2 here and there. They haven't grown as great, which is fine. It's no big deal. But I see at least 4 or 5 he's picking. So that's good. That is good. We'll take it.
All day.
See? Oh, is that what he good?
Yep, that was good.
We tried to weigh the tomatoes that I just took in the house, but our scale needs a battery. But it had to be at least 10 pounds, y'all. So 10 pounds of Roma tomatoes is gonna make me some good sauce and some good soup and all of that good stuff. My husband's the cleanup person.
Oh yeah, we ain't gonna miss nothing, y'all. We'll get it all.
So here's what I want to say about this bed, and I want to make sure that I mention this because I don't think I've mentioned it before. With determinate and indeterminate tomatoes, so I always explain this because there's always somebody new that needs to hear this. So a determinate tomato variety is one that goes to a determined height, puts on all of its fruit at one time, and then that's it. So what I just showed you were Roma tomatoes. That's a determinate variety. They're literally putting on all of their fruit at one time. Now they're ripening at different times, but typically over the next over a 2 or 3 week period, I will get all the tomatoes. It's not going to produce any more tomatoes. Like there's no flowers on it. It's just tomatoes. So what I left are tomatoes left to ripen versus indeterminate tomatoes that you'll see when we go to the tunnel. They get to an indeterminate height and they continue to produce fruit all year long. So with indeterminate varieties, you do want to prune and you do want to have some type of trellising or support method. And you will see that when we go into the tunnel. Now you will notice out here, there is no support. Now I meant to have support. Now with a determinate tomato, that's when you would use those tomato cages that you see in the store. That's a perfect application and a perfect use for a determinate variety. And that's what I was supposed to do, but I never got around to it. My point is this. These tomatoes have not been supported in terms of structural wise. They've just been in the ground. They're laying down and they're still producing fruit. So even though sometimes there is an ideal, I don't hit the ideal all the time. And you're not going to hit the ideal all the time. But fruit, the food will still grow. Even though it wasn't supported like it should have been. You see that I just harvested over 10 pounds of tomatoes. And this is my 4th harvest off these tomatoes. They're putting out all their fruit at one time. They're just ripening at different stages. And I'm just reaping the benefits. So now we're going to go to the other bed and see if we have any green beans over here. The stuff out here needs to be watered, but it's a little bit too hot to water now. So we'll have to wait until later in the day to water or in the morning. Because I can tell that they've been beaten up by the sun. They probably haven't been watered in a couple of days. But let's go over here to the other bed and see if we have green beans. So on the left side of the bed are sweet potatoes, but where my husband is are green beans. Yeah, they passed ready because they went. Okay, so we only picked a few green beans. I'll have my husband come over here and show the basket of what we got. We have a basket full, and in that basket is green beans, the bell peppers, and even tomatoes. So the green beans are on their way out. We probably harvest them those 3 times. You can see we just have a few green beans. We have more tomatoes, and then we got some orange bell peppers. Nice. So whole basket of a little smorgasbord right here. So we're done out here. Now we're gonna go to the tunnel and see what we can harvest out there. I'll meet you at the tunnel. Okay guys, so we are in the tunnel and we're gonna see what we have to pick out here. It is hot in this tunnel. Let me turn my thing back on. It is 103. So we're gonna try to make this as quick as possible, and then we're gonna go to the outside garden and see what we have. So my husband's already started in one raised bed. I think he's picking probably peppers. So let's take a look and see what he has. Okay, my husband said that the colors were screaming at him, so that's why he came to this bed first. So he's picking, I think the sweet bonnet peppers is what he has. I'm going to grab a basket, and I'm going to get some of these other ones as well to add to his basket. Okay, y'all, while my husband is harvesting these peppers, let's talk about these peppers. I told you that I had some plants on their way out before I left. So these are the peppers. I did a video maybe a week or so ago showing you these things that were on my peppers that looked almost like dust, so to speak. And I've deduced that it is aphids. So you can see, I showed you these leaves before. It's almost like they had some kind of dust on them. And then when you look on the underside, the stuff is still there like that. I've deduced that this is aphids, and the aphids have pretty much damaged a lot of these peppers. You can see how some of them just don't even look good anymore. So you can see hopefully what I'm talking about that's on these plants. And how they just don't look good. Take a look at that. It's almost like little white dust. It's on the front side as well as the underside. And some of the plants look like their leaves are gone down here where it looks like almost like hornworm damage. And then we just saw another bug that looks almost like a stink bug. Okay, so this is one of the peppers that came off the things with aphids. You can see, look at that. But when you wipe it, it'll wipe right off. My husband's gonna spray it down. So it's still edible, so to speak. Like, it doesn't have any damage except that right there. So before I left, when I came out here, there was not one pepper on any of these plants. All of the plants were bare, which I have not come out here all summer. Since they've started bearing fruit, I have not come out here one time and not been able to harvest peppers. So we have at least 40 pepper plants on these two rows, at least. Probably more like 50, and there was not one pepper hanging, like not one forming, not one about to ripen. Like, there were no pepper plants. And so I did not have time before I left to treat them. I was going to treat them with neem oil once I kind of figured out, okay, I think this is aphids or whatever, but I ran out of time and I was not able to do it before I left. So I said, when I come back, if there is not a pepper on here, I'm just going to rip up all of these plants and we're just going to call it the end of the pepper season in the tunnel. Now, part of that just makes me, twinge, because I wasn't expecting to end pepper season this soon. But on the other hand, I have more than enough peppers in my freezer. So if I don't get another pepper, like I said on that video, I'm still okay. But as a gardener, you want things to grow until it can't grow anymore, and you want to be in charge of when it stops growing. That's what you want to do as a gardener. But obviously, we don't have control over that. Now, I am surprised that when we came, we have peppers. Now, the ones that my husband collected at the front of this row were all clean, no aphids, no anything. So I don't know if those plants just bounced back on their own, or maybe they was not as infected as the rest of these. But halfway back where he harvested peppers, it all has that damage on it. Now he's gonna rinse them off. We're gonna see what they look like, but all of those had that damage on it. So I'm at a point, I'm back for a week. I could treat and see what happens, or I could just pull the plants. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat, although it may be too far gone. I'm just going to see for my own good. So now I'm just experimenting. Instead of me just pulling them all up, then I'm going to just treat them with neem oil and just see what happens, to see if I can get rid of the aphids, to see if they bounce back. I'm going to give them a week or so and just see what happens. If not, then I will just pull them. Now, the risk, I don't want aphids to get infected in my whole tunnel and get on other stuff. And I can see where it may be on another side of my tunnel. When I was looking, I'm like, oh, that looks like the same damage. So you don't want to have an infestation, because I've had one of those before on my tomatoes. Last year, that was actually in this area. So even though I've rotated my crops, it's interesting how I have never ever had aphids on peppers, ever. I've never had any issues with peppers, like of no kind, no. The most I've had is like sun scald, and that is it. I've never had any type of pest issue in growing peppers. This is the first time it's ever happened. But it's interesting how these are in the same spot that the tomatoes were in last year, and I had an aphid infestation on my tomatoes earlier in the season. Now this is late in the season. We're mid-August, and I'm just now seeing this, which is a blessing, because I've been able to harvest, I mean, at least 100 pounds of peppers, like easily. So it's a blessing that it wasn't at the beginning of the season like the tomatoes. But even if you remember, if you were here with the tomatoes, we were able to recover and bounce back and still get a nice tomato harvest. We had to do some heavy duty stuff to get rid of that aphid infestation, and spent a couple of weeks being very diligent, but it did go away. So I may try that tomorrow. It's too hot now, so I may treat tomorrow and just see what happens and go from there. But I think right now I'm going to leave it. But I'm telling you, I was prepared to take all of these peppers out of the tunnel and rip them up when I came back. But because we've harvested some, they get a little bit more grace, a few more days. This is what I harvested over in the other tunnel, like a half a bucket of jalapenos, and then a few green beans. So let me see what my husband has in his basket. Okay, so this is the tomato row. He's on the inside row. Honey, what is it generally looking like overall since you're in there?
Pretty good. We got some damage, some bug damage, but we still got some good fruit in here.
Okay, so he has, I don't know, a nice little basket started. Yeah. Not nearly up, I mean, what we normally get, but hey, we're not complaining. We're definitely slowing down as well as we do have some damage, right? Yeah. Okay. So here's a pimento pepper. You can see that it has like that aphid damage on it, so it's even gotten over on that pepper. And then we have a few tomatoes that we were able to harvest. But again, y'all, we just harvested like 10 pounds aroma, so we're not complaining. We're not complaining at all. But you can just see that the harvest is slowing down just because the tomato plants are slowing down, as well as they do have some damage. I don't see hornworm damage. And it's amazing how I have damage in some, but then some of them still look really, really good, which is, again, I'm not gonna say it's odd. That's just what it is. Let me see if I can give you a close-up view so you can see how some of them look versus others. So you can see that those look really, really, really good. Like it's still very much green and healthy looking. But then when I go down the row, you can see there's some that just look dead, like right in there at the end of the row. Why? I don't know. Have no idea. Not gonna even really put much stock into it. These plants have been in here since April the 12th. So they have been in here 4 months. So they have done extremely, extremely well. Let me also show you how our cucumbers are doing that we planted on our second succession. Let me show you those. See the yellow flowers? You can see they're starting to flower, and then we got some vining up. So we planted these together probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. This is our second succession of cucumbers. So we'll have cucumbers again before the season ends, which I'm excited about. And then there's a basil plant that we did that's coming up, and then some more cucumbers down there. Those down there don't look as good. I'm not sure why, but this one right here is promising. And I just want more cucumbers to make cucumber water and make me a couple of things of relish and pickles, and I'm good. Well, look what my husband found. We got a hornworm on the jalapenos. Again, I very rarely see hornworms on my pepper plants, like hardly ever, but there is one there. We're gonna get that one off. But he just picked quite a few jalapeno peppers. Okay, I'm letting my husband finish up in the tunnel while I come out to the outside garden to see if there's anything to harvest out here, and I do see some stuff to harvest. So we're gonna start with the first row, which is okra, peppers, and yeah, just okra and peppers on this row, and then we'll move over and see if we have any squash and green beans. Okay, y'all, this is one of 4 baskets that we've got out here. Unbelievable. So in my basket, my husband has some baskets as well. So we got a beautiful center cut squash. We got some more bell peppers. That's a huge jalapeno pepper. I got some okra in here. What else? Bell peppers and more jalapenos. So this basket is kind of like a mix. My husband's come up here. I'm gonna let you see what he picked in his basket as well. All right, so basket full of tomatoes, a few jalapenos. We'll put the peppers over here. Okay, I'll do that in the house. So he got a whole basket of tomatoes. And then how many baskets do you have in there?
4.
4. So we got a total of 6 baskets, y'all. Here, honey. Y'all, I'm out of gas. It's hot out here. Even though this was keeping me cool and I haven't sweated, the heat just beats you down. But we had to get it. We had to get it.
We got a few watermelons.
Oh, he said we have a few watermelons too. Y'all, just to think, we harvested, I don't know how many peppers inside the tunnel, but y'all, I was about to toss them peppers. And they still may get tossed, but I was about to toss them. I just knew when I came today they were going to be tossed, but we actually had some peppers on there that actually looked good. But also then I got peppers out here in the outside tunnel. So again, I have the space that I can plant in multiple spaces, but that is the reason why I plant the same thing a lot of times in multiple spaces, because it may do well in one space and not the other space. So like those in there are on their way out and they're bad or going bad, I still was able to pick some peppers out here. Now a lot of them, no, most of them are blushing, so they will definitely turn red. It's the Ajvarsky pepper. I picked some that was green just because I got plenty of peppers and I can use the green ones. Not a problem. So I'll just have, you know, a little small bag of chopped green peppers. And I'll probably like mix it with the onions. So I'll do probably like a, I do what I call like a chili starter mix. So I have like onions, garlic, and bell peppers like already frozen and prepackaged together, so that way when I want to do chili, I just open that one bag and put that in there. And I don't mind using the green peppers for chili instead of using my red and yellow and all those peppers. So they're still will be used, but I plant in multiple spaces because you never know how one space is going to do. So let's say those, I don't produce any more of those, I still have peppers out here that I can get. Again, if I needed peppers, that I still can harvest out here. I really don't need more peppers, but I'm still getting them. So that's the benefit of putting things in different places. So if you have, like, let's say raised beds in the back of your house, and then you have like a little small garden, maybe somewhere like out in a pasture, like maybe it's just small, but it's 2 different spaces, like it's not in the same space, in the same bed, then experiment with that. Maybe grow the same tomato plant maybe out in your field and then the same one behind your house, you know, if you got 2 separate spaces, and just see how the difference of it grows. One may be in more direct sun than another. One, you know, the sun may hit it a different way and may get sun scald where the other one may not. So if you have the space, I do encourage you to experiment and do the same crop in a couple of different places, especially crops that you know that you need and that you use a lot. I would definitely do that. And then also, I have planted stuff in different places, maybe not the same thing in the same season, but like I used to do okra. I started off doing okra in my tunnel in a raised bed. It did okay, but it does much better outside. But I wouldn't have known that had I not, you know, tried it in my tunnel, if that makes sense. So just little tips and tricks that you can do. Like when I did onions in my raised beds in the tunnel, they didn't do well. But every time I do onions outside, they do great. So just as a gardener, you can experiment, and just because something doesn't go well one time, it could be the location, it could be a number of things. So don't give up, especially if it's something that you eat and that you like. So y'all, we harvested 6 baskets of food today, just after being gone for 4 days, not even a full week. And I'm telling you, when I look out here, it doesn't look as lush as it did 30 days ago. And you look, you're like, okay, it's not that much out here to pick. I would have never thought it would be 6 baskets of food. Just when you think it's not a lot. Oh, that breeze feels good. Just when you think it's not a lot, then you have abundance. That is the way it goes. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today as we harvested tons of stuff. I will try to bring you along the journey as we try to preserve some of it, use it for recipes and all of that good stuff. But now my counters are about to be full again. And you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. It's so funny that, you know, even as a gardener, as much as I love this, there are times that I do get burned out and overwhelmed, especially a lot during the summer season. In the fall, not so much because it's a much slower pace. But in the summer, I have days of burnout where I'm like, I don't even want to. And so I was gone for 4 days on a little mini, you know, vacation, staycation, whatever you want to call it, with my husband. And I did not even, I'm not gonna say I didn't think about the garden, but I didn't think about it or long for the garden until this morning. Like the other 3 days, I'm like, okay, garden's fine. It's being taken care of. No big deal. I wasn't longing for it. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, what's happening? But this morning I woke up, I'm like, I want to see my garden. And that's perfectly normal. You can love it and you cannot love it all in the same week. That's just the way it goes. But anyway, thank you guys for joining. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. Remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.